Okay, so I've been playing Rust recently, and I got kind of curious. I decided to ask ChatGPT to choose 50 of the most consequential, influential world figures, including both past and present. And I gave it some examples, of current and past world figures: Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, Zelensky, and then you got like Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, Mussolini, Kim Jong-un. And I asked ChatGPT to tell me what activities each one of these would be doing in Rust if they were playing Rust in the same server together. So let's have a look at some of the results. I had a peek at a couple of these and I thought, okay, I gotta do a bit of a recording here because shit's funny. So here's a detailed, imaginative take on what 50 of the most influential world figures, past and present, might be doing if they were all dropped into the same Rust server. We'll take into account real-life personalities, historical roles, leadership styles, and ideologies to craft fitting Rust activities and alliances. Now, real quick, before we get into this, don't take any of this seriously. This is all theoretical and just for a bit of a laugh. Alright, let's have a look at what's been written. Builders and organizers. First on the list, Joseph Stalin. Hoards resources. Builds massive fortresses with endless locks and turrets. Paranoid about betrayal. Shoots teammates for minor disobedience. Probably the Zerg clan leader. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Xi Jinping. Constructs a highly organized compound. Surrounded by surveillance, brackets, cameras, auto turrets, traps. Bans any in-game Winnie the Pooh skins. Yikes, okay. I'm gonna skip a few of the ones if I don't know anything about them. Barack Obama forms a coalition base. Smooth negotiator. Always shows up with a semi-auto and a piece of... Wait, why does he always show up with the semi-auto? Why is that? Okay, well, whatever. He's got a peace offer, fair enough. Volodymyr Zelensky constantly raids... but always rebuilding, makes emotional speeches in chat, gets helped by sympathetic players. Oh my god. George Washington builds an independence-themed base far from other people. Shoots first if approached. Teaches noobs how to survive the first night. George Washington was the first president, right? So I guess that's, teaches noobs how to survive the first night. Kind of makes sense there. Oh, raiders and warmongerers. Oh god. Alright, here we go, guys. First raider and warmongerer. The man himself. Adolf Hitler. Builds an ornate compound with swastika pixel art. Plots massive coordinated raids. Betrays allies mid-fight. Eventually gets banned. Okay. Benito Mussolini follows Hitler around and loots corpses after battles. Always second in command. Often gets headshot. Vladimir Putin, okay. Sneaks into other bases. Poisons water barrels. Controls a network of sleeper agents. Has secret stashes everywhere. Okay, that sounds alright. Sounds about right. Donald Trump builds the largest, gaudiest base on the beach. The best base, quote, nobody builds like me. Gets raided constantly but blames it on lag and unfair service. Oh, that's a good one. Genghis Khan never builds a base. Just rides horses in a massive roaming clan, destroying everything in their path with flame arrows and swords. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds terrifying. I'm just imagining like a 40-man Zerg all on horses with like flame arrows in a Rust server. That would be hilarious, but also terrifying. Kim Jong-un keeps a tiny, mysterious base, but claims to have nukes. Sends death threats in global chat, rarely leaves his door. Okay, that's a fairly tame description, considering who this person is. Okay, diplomats, traders, and thinkers. Moving on to another category now. Nelson Mandela builds a safe zone for new players, refuses to raid, tries to unite rival clans with speeches and healing syringes. Sounds like a pretty upstanding man, but in Rust, I don't think this would work. Ooh, Mahatma Gandhi goes full pacifist mode, refuses to fight, wears nothing but burlap and builds shrines from stone, gets headshot constantly. Man, this is kind of crazy. John F. Kennedy promises big plans, starts construction of a launch site outpost, but gets sniped before finishing. Oh, fuck. I'm not gonna lie, I felt that one coming, bro. I felt that one coming. Remember guys, this is all theoretical, fun and games, just having a bit of a laugh here. Don't take any of this too seriously. Albert Einstein spends most time on test servers, creates trap bases with genius redstone style circuits, doesn't raid, just watches. Redstone? Where do we get redstone from, bro? This is Rust we're talking about. Rogues, rebels, and agents. Okay, let's have a look at these. Che Guevara leads a guerrilla group in the hills, hits supply lines and wooden stacks with pipe shotguns, dies constantly but respawns full of ideology. Okay. Fidel Castro has a hidden bunker in the mountains, sends propaganda in chat, somehow survives every wipe. Oh god, okay. Osama bin Laden hides in caves, only comes out to play C4. Oh no. Sends global chat messages declaring jihad on capitalist clans. Karl Marx lives in the starter area, preaches about loot redistribution, hoards cloth for bandages but gives all metal to the people. What an upstanding man. The wild cards. Oh, here we go. Okay. Emmanuel Macron builds a fancy EU themed villa, gets bored and starts enforcing laws on the other players. Cleopatra is an interesting addition. Seduces the rival players, gets free loot, then vanishes. Base is guarded by trained bears. You got bears guarding your base? Pretty badass. Jesus of Nazareth. I don't know if I'm gonna put this one in. Refuses to kill. Hangs out on top of a rock. Revives anyone downed. Keeps respawning with zero loot. Yet somehow becomes influential. You know what? That's alright. I'll keep that one in there. That's not bad. Tech and industry. Ooh, okay. Elon Musk builds Tesla Tower from scratch, launches scrap-fueled rockets, crashes into clan bases for data. Mark Zuckerberg makes a clan called Meta. Base covered in cameras, tracks everyone's movements, creepy vibe. Steve Jobs builds minimalist, elegant bases with Apple logos. Won't use in-game chat unless you pay for it. Next up, Jeff Bezos controls all the vending machines, delivers supplies by minicopter, hires other players to raid for him. You know what? That's probably pretty accurate if he was to play Rust. Cultural and intellectual icons. Aristotle documents all game mechanics, invents the meta, probably the first to master compound bow recoil? What on earth is this compound bow recoil? Socrates wanders the map asking, what is loot? Gets killed for being annoying. Oh shit. Okay, well, a lot of these were very funny, I will say. I'm gonna choose some of my favorite ones and I'm gonna ask it to make me like, I don't know, a short story we can read about their journey through Rust. Alright, here we go. Write me a short story about Joseph Stalin's Rust wipe on this server that's populated by these influential world figures. Let's see what we get. Title, Stalin's wipe. Alright, cool, let's do it. The wind howled across the tundra as Joseph Stalin stared down at the Rust map, his mouse hovering over the spawn button. The wipe had begun. Fresh terrain, fresh opportunity, and this time he would not be overthrown. He spawned into a snowy biome, cold and alone, but not for long. Within an hour, the Iron Zerg was formed. He recruited Putin, Xi Jinping, and a reluctant Castro, promising equal loot shares, though no one ever saw a single scrap. Together, they built the Kremlin, a massive compound with layered external walls, a kill-on-site turret perimeter, and a 24-hour work schedule enforced in voice chat. Comrade Putin, why is the stone chest half empty? Stalin asked. I was crafting bullets. Stalin nodded slowly. Putin was never seen again. Okay. So this is how it's gonna be, alright. So, Putin has disappeared. He's no longer part of the Iron Zerg. Putin's gone. He's out. To the west, Mandela, Gandhi, and Franklin D. Roosevelt built a peaceful village known as New Hope, inviting new players in for food, shelter, and peace. Stalin saw it as a weakness. Oh no, shit's about to go down, boys. Alright, quote, "They will be the first to burn," he said, loading satchel charges into a box labeled "For the People." Meanwhile, Trump and Mussolini had been that's the weird combination, had been streaming their base building on Twitch, calling it Trumpland, the Wall 2.0. By day 2, Stalin's empire controlled 3 monuments, 6 airdrops, and every heli crate on the map. He installed surveillance cameras on all major roads and kept files on everyone, especially those in the intellectual region, where Einstein, Da Vinci, and Aristotle were experimenting with trap-based physics. One night, Stalin listened to Plato speaking in proximity chat. "Power is not held through weapons, but through the soul." Bang! Plato respawned elsewhere. That was a bit sudden. Okay. But Stalin's paranoia grew. He suspected Karl Marx of plotting to redistribute his loot. Give me a moment, I need to collect myself. He placed turrets inside the sleeping quarters in case of betrayal during rest. His own clan lived in fear. Then came the resistance. On day 4, Zelensky gathered Washington, Napoleon, Cleopatra, and even Greta Thunberg under one alliance, the Coalition of the Wiped. They formed a ragtag base in the desert. Churchill called it the Last Bastion. Oh, okay. We got some beef going on, maybe. They coordinated a surprise midnight raid on the Kremlin. Turrets roared, rockets flew. Stalin emerged from his command room with an AK and a megaphone, shouting, "You attack the People's Fortress?" But it was Jesus, quietly standing on the hilltop, who tossed the final bean can. Oh shit! Plot twist! Jesus of Nazareth deals the final blow. The door blew open. The loot room was exposed. They took everything. Holy shit, cinema. This is cinema. In the morning, Stalin respawned on the beach. Naked, alone. He punched a tree. "Next wipe," he muttered. "Next wipe, we start again." Ooh. Server announcement. Wipe complete, all progress reset. Oh shit, Stalin has joined the server. Xi Jinping is... Putin's back! He got reinvited into the clan. I thought he got kicked out. Oh, okay, so that's the end. It's like a cliffhanger ending where they rejoin the server. Okay, you know what? That was great. I think I'm going to do one more. I need one more story. I'm going to choose another person and we're going to read one more. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to say, that was great. Can you make another story? But this time we follow Donald Trump's Rust Swipe. I want to see what Donald Trump gets up to in this Rust Swipe, right? Because I feel like it could be pretty diabolical. Let's have a sus. Absolutely. Here's a short Rust story following Donald Trump through his chaotic, egotistical, and wildly entertaining wipe. Alright boys, let's dive right in. Here we go. Title, Make Rust Great Again. What a fantastic start to this story. Day 0. The Spawn. Donald J. Trump spawned naked on a pristine Rust beach, looking down at his rock like it owed him money. First of all, he said aloud in voice chat, "The worst spawn I've ever seen. Disgraceful. I'm surrounded by water, and frankly, I don't swim unless it's in gold." Don't mind my Donald Trump impression. We're gonna have to stick with it throughout this because we gotta have a little bit of that immersion. He punched a tree once, then opened the global chat. Trump 2020. Okay, his name is Trump 2024. His username is Trump 2020. Alright, cool. Who wants to build the greatest base in Rust history? It'll be beautiful, spectacular. Nobody builds like I built. Okay. Mussolini joined him almost immediately. Boris Johnson wandered in, holding a torch and asking where the food was. Steve Jobs offered a minimalist base design and was promptly kicked from the team for being weird. Alright, cool. So we have Trump, Mussolini, and Boris Johnson, the dynamic trio. They named their team Trumpland. Of course they named it Trumpland. A unanimous decision, I'm sure. Day 1. Construction begins. Trump refused to build with stone. Too primitive. Instead, they used only sheet metal and high quality metal. Their compound, The Wall, spanned an entire river crossing with massive signs reading "No nakeds allowed" in neon. Okay, he bought the neon sign pack. He's locked in. It's Trump 2024. You know who's not getting in? The nakeds. Not on my watch. Sad. He created a maze of vending machines selling low-tier items for inflated prices. This is how real economies work, he claimed, ignoring Gandhi, pickaxing a rock nearby. Ooh, okay, we got Gandhi. Gandhi mining stone. Mussolini handled the loot room, but accidentally stored sulfur in the furnace base. Trump screamed at him for 10 minutes and demoted him to door guard. Okay, so Mussolini has been demoted. Important bits of lore here. Day 2, trouble brews. Putin flew over in a minicopter, hovering above the wall. Putin, is his name Putin Vision? Is that what we're doing here? Oh my god, his name is actually Putin Vision. Okay, nice base. Very compensatory. Is that a word? I guess it is. I've never heard that word before. Compensatory. Trump opened fire immediately. Oh shit, we got beef. Hitting nothing. Okay. He jumped into a horse saddle and gave chase, yelling, "That's Russian disinformation, folks." Later that day, Zelensky raided an outpost Trump had labeled Trump Tower South, blowing it up with C4 and planting Ukrainian flags on the remains. Okay, so we got Zelensky beef with Trump. Okay, so Zelensky 420 says, "Keep the change, Donald." Trump responded by rage crafting 20 signs reading "Stolen raid." Placed them all around the ruins. Day 3, the Great Debate. A group of intellectuals, Einstein, Plato, and Karl Marx, held a debate outside New Hope Village, asking, what is ownership in a server destined to wipe? Trump showed up in full metal gear, grenade in hand. Ownership is everything, he said. You either have loot or you're a loser. Throws grenade. Didn't Plato get like insta headshot by Stalin in the last story as well? What's the beef with Plato, bro? Day 4, collapse of Trumpland. Stalin, Putin, and Xi Jinping formed the axis of authoritarians, targeting high-profile structures. Naturally, Trumpland was their first stop. Sort of axes forming here against Trump. The raid began at sunset. Rockets echoed across the map. Trump 2024. This is an illegal raid. They're colluding. I demand a recount. As his compound crumbled, Trump hid in a panic room labeled "Real Winners Only," stocked with beans, a flamethrower, and 17 signs of himself flexing in game. He opened global chat again. Trump 2024. Nobody told me Stalin had rockets. I had rockets too. I just don't feel like using them. He was eventually flushed out by a Molotov cocktail thrown by Greta Thunberg. This is what happens when you burn too much wood. Okay, so Trump was flushed out of his panic room by Greta Thunberg's Molotov. Alright, cool. Day 5, a new plan. Naked once more. Trump respawned at a lighthouse. He gathered cloth, crafted a bow, and whispered, "They may have taken the wall, but I'm starting a new project. Bigger, better, a Rust Casino. The best. Everyone's invited, except losers." He placed a sleeping bag and called it Trump Resort and Shooting Range. Server announcement. Server wipes in one day. Trump 2024. Don't wipe the server. The numbers were great. Best wipe ever. Fake wipe. Okay. Wow. Alright. That was something. That was a nice excursion into a theoretical world of influential world figures playing Rust together. A good bit of fun, I'd say. Anyway, I'm about done messing with this, but I had a great time reading this, and I hope you guys had a great time listening. This is probably going to be a completely random video. I've never done something like this before, but I just thought it was kind of funny, so I wanted to share it with you guys. And yeah, that's about it. I guess thanks for listening. I'll catch you in the next video, whatever it is I happen to upload. Goodbye.